question says, the graph below shows the activity of enzyme pepsin in the presence of inhibitors aliphatic alcohols denoted by P or N-acetyl L-phenylalanine denoted by Q. Which one of the following represents the nature of inhibition by P and Q respectively? To answer this question, we need to refer to the enzyme inhibition concept. There are three types of enzyme inhibition. The first is competitive inhibition. In this, the inhibitor has a structural and chemical similarity to the substrate, and this hinders the substrate binding by blocking the active site of the enzyme. Now here, since the inhibitor competes with the substrate, if we increase the substrate concentration, it reduces the inhibitor's action. Now to understand this enzyme kinetics, we can look at this graph here. Here, because the inhibitor and the substrate are competing for the same active site, there is no change in the Vmax of the enzyme. However, the substrate affinity of the enzyme goes down, which we can see by the increase in the value of -1 by Km or the decrease in the value of Km. Moving on, the next kind of inhibition is non-competitive inhibition. Here, the inhibitor binds reversibly to an allosteric site, causing a change in the enzyme's overall 3D structure and lowering the catalytic activity. Allosteric site is any site other than the active site. Now here, because the effects of a non-competitive inhibitor can't be countered by increasing the substrate concentration, the overall Vmax declines. This can be seen in the graph in the form of a constant -1 by Km, that is, the affinity does not change. However, since Vmax decline, there is an increase in the 1 by Vmax value, which can be seen in this graph here in the inhibited line. The next kind of inhibition is uncompetitive inhibition, where the inhibitor binds to the enzyme substrate complex. Now, because of which there is a removal of an activated enzyme substrate complex. This induces a decrease in the maximum velocity of the chemical reaction, and this can be seen by the increase in the 1 by Vmax for the inhibited reaction. And the characteristic of uncompetitive inhibition graph is the presence of these parallel lines. So now we move on to the question and we look individually for each of the inhibitors. For P here, you can see that the 1 by Vmax value is constant while the 1 Km value decreases. So this means that the affinity has reduced while the Vmax remains constant. This is a characteristic of competitive inhibition. While for Q, you can see that the affinity is constant while the Vmax value has reduced. This is characteristic for the non-competitive inhibition. So the answer to this question is B. To refer more to enzyme kinetics and enzyme sciences, you can refer to this course offered by NPTEL. Thank you.